Telling you, bro. I fucking got that down, the hyena thing down.
I feel like people are getting tired of hearing my story now. But, well, me from the community, I might be wrong. I'm getting tired of telling it.
Why?
Because I feel like...
Because you're telling the same shit, basically.
In a way, like it's the same story.
All right, so
someone said to me that don't really be tired of it because you never know. Whoever's hearing it might be hearing it for the first time. So maybe always try to find a way of telling it differently.
Yeah, man. Well, I suppose this is what we're trying to do here. Welcome, everyone. This is cool. I'll dig this. That's a great start. You wanted to say something?
No.
All right.
I was just saying that, like, I feel like, and probably in the community, a lot of people know, like, my story in a way, like how I started and where I'm from and all the stuff. But, like, that's why I'm like, it's getting to a point where I feel like it's the same thing. I keep saying the same stuff. But then again, there might be people who don't know the story, which might be kind of like inspirational to them in a way. But yeah.
Jeez, there's the title of this podcast. What are you not saying? Umuzi alumni recruits. What are you not saying? Hey, man, welcome to this podcast. We just decided to sit down with our alumni and talk shit with them for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. Hear what we can say. Neto, we've brought you in here. You do a lot of interviews, so I agree with you. It must get boring. I mean, damn, you're like a flippin' influencer now, dude.
No, I'm not
the taxi influencer. That's
my
what
work is the influential part of everything.
Oh, look at this guy.
Not me. No, I'm serious though. Like, well, I guess now when people think of Kgomotso Neto, obviously the work comes to mind, and I think the influential part of it is probably the work more than anything. Not me personally as a person, but the work that I put out.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the thing about Neto that I've always experienced when he first walked in the door to now, is he only really gets. He's a humble guy all the time. The only time he's not humble is when you put a bit of black label in him. Then it's trouble, no?
No, I get friendlier, actually. It's the opposite way, but yeah.
All right, so we're hanging out with Neto and basically just having a little moment with him to find out some things that maybe we don't know about him. What we realized at Umuzi is we've got a whole bunch of really radical people running around here in our alumni networks. And we just want to talk to them, man. Find out what's going on in their lives. And also, I suppose, figure out what the magic juices that they have that they can share with us. Neto, I know you've told your story many times. We know that you were a law student, you dropped out. We know you worked in a call center. And that is an inspirational story in itself, that you went from law student, which a lot of black children in the modern democracy post 1994 are getting pushed into the law, the medicine, the accounting, because parents are like, well, we didn't have these opportunities, we want you to have them. But let's just go back to where it starts for you. Khamaja, if I said that correctly.
Khamaja.
You see, I was trying to be like Tswana, but I was like Khamaja, and that didn't work out. So Khamaja. So give me a sense of what this place is like.
So it's a village. I don't think it's very little anymore, but like it's a village that's just outside of Polokwane, like probably around 30 km or 35 km out of Polokwane. Well, before the Khamaja part, I was actually born in Alexander.
Oh, wow, okay.
So my mom was staying with her aunt at the time, and she had me in her when she was 20. So because she was still also figuring out her 20s, then they sent me to
live with the grandmother.
With my grandmoms, yeah. My grandmoms was a teacher, a primary school teacher.
Okay.
So my granddad was staying here in Alex also. So I grew up in a family where it was me, it was my other cousin who's my uncle's son. So he was my brother because we stayed in the same house. So I grew up having a brother, but he's my cousin more than anything. Then I went to the school that I was in. My grandma was my teacher in like the first grade, like from grade 1. And I grew up in a heavy Jehovah's Witness family. You know, like my grand is
Were you asked to go pray with people? What's the story?
My grand is like 56 years old of being a Jehovah's Witness. You know, she's old. She's probably like 70, but she's been a Jehovah's Witness probably when she was like 14 or something. So I grew up around that, and it was mostly, if you know how Jehovah's Witnesses are, they're very like the traditional stuff, they don't really practice that, you know what I mean? Which I feel like is very unfortunate for a lot of us as kids who grew up in this institution. I feel like it has this culty thing to it, which I really don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my grand was quite strict with how we do stuff in the community, what we do, and who we hang around with. We need to practice respect and all that stuff. And yeah, I was that person, and I was that kid where people knew the family that I come from, and people knew that I have, like, I respect everyone around me. You know what I mean? But as time went on, I grew up and I saw that, no, man, this church religion thing is not for me, you know. So I kind of just drifted away from that.
What was that moment?
There wasn't. I won't say it's a moment, but it's a thing of. It's a process in a way, you know. You, as a black kid, we all know that we are all forced to go to church, whether you like it or not. On Sunday, you're going to church. So with me, it was more like literally you live like that. Like from during the week, there's like Bible studies from you have to go do, they call it street work, where you invite people to come to your church. So I saw my grandma doing this and other family members, and we were just like, me and my cousin were like, nah, man, we're not gonna continue with this because you don't have a life. Like, literally restricts you from like doing other stuff. You check, but yeah. So that happened, and I was in primary for like, oh yeah, and let me just tell you my journey to going to school in primary. So where I stayed, there's another village next to my village, and there's a little mountain vibe that happens where that's our path to go to school.
Okay.
And I remember the government at the time had a thing where, like, the whole feeding scheme thing, where they come, like, during break, they come and feed the kids there. They give them bread and all the stuff. So we had to come with water because there's no running water in the school. So you come with a 2 liter of bottled water. Like, it can be a 2 liter of milk. You know, 2 liter. So because you've used the milk and everything is finished, so you put water in that, and you have to come with a wooden, like a branch type of vibe, so they can make fire at school. So now imagine around 100 kids every single day, each of them coming with a 2 liter bottle of water and one coming with a little branch. That's going to become like a heap of branch to make fire.
Those trees around that path were gone.
So around that path, what would happen is you'd be so late to school and you're wearing shorts and you're running, but you have to pass through that little mountain there and break off a branch and run and get to school. If you're late, you get punished for it. You know what I mean? So that was the vibe. Like, I grew up like that, like primary school. That was like until probably grade 6 or so, somewhere there. Then okay, sharp, that happened. Then high school. My high school is in the same village. I remember in '98. I was 8 years old. I wasn't in high school then. But I remember Thabo Mbeki came to open the school because the government had opened the school. Mandela was still president. So all the grandmas thought Mandela was there, but it was Thabo Mbeki. So I saw it. Then, yeah, sharp, that's fine. And
Thabo Mbeki's best moments when the village thought that he was Nelson Mandela.
Dude. So they opened the school in 2013. That was my grade 8. So I got to high school. My journey to school, right, to high school, every single day, I walked about 35 minutes. Every day, like literally every day, 35 minutes to go to school, 35 minutes to go back. And I went back again because my friends were that side. So then back home later on. You know what I mean? So
that's why you're so thin when you joined Umuzi. You
no,
walked everywhere, right?
I feel like now I'm eating all this fatty shit, which is just messing up with me, like, you know. But yeah, so that was the journey for me for like all those years, going to school.
So you really were a bit of a Jimmy comes to Joburg.
Not really. I always came to Joburg during the holidays. You know, I had a lot of.
So you had lots of experience.
Yeah,
in Alex.
No, I always came June holidays, September, December. I'm here
because your mom was still here.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
So home. I mean, going to school.
Note yourself, only bring up Jimmy comes to Joburg with real rural people. You know.
So grade 8 was cool. Grade 9. That's when I really started getting. So I've always been like a fan of music, but at home there wasn't really anyone who was like. Well, there was. My aunt was a proper musical influence. She was your Teddy Pendergrass, or Luther Vandross, Celine Dion, listening like, and she was the one who was always around me. So she played that music a lot. My cousin came with the gesturing era, which is your Silk, your Backstreet Boys, your Boys to Men, and all those guys. So I grew up around that music. But when I got to grade 9, that's when I started getting into hip hop. I got a lot into hip hop, listening to 50 Cent. I remember your Fat Joes, And there was a friend of mine called John GPT. Funny enough, he's also a photographer now, called Butweli. We went to hip hop. Like, this is funny because a lot of people won't believe this, but me and him were rapping. Like from grade 9 till grade 11, we were known as the rappers in school.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
Can you hit us up?
No,
come on.
I'm
Hit
not
us
there
up with some
anymore.
lines.
No,
bro.
but I won't lie. Listen
One
to
or
hip
two
hop.
lines.
Let me tell you something. Listening to hip hop helped me on how to speak English.
Oh really?
Literally on how to
Wow.
articulate and bring out my words, and like that literally taught me how to be fluent in speaking
So
English.
when you were rapping in English.
Yeah, obviously, but obviously there'll be like a few vernac, because obviously the American influence is heavy, you know, like it's there even amongst some of our peers now. So that one, so it helped me really like learn how to articulate and write some stuff. You know what I mean? So that happened, and grade 11 was grade 11. In grade 12, I was the
We're getting a play-by-play, and this is piloting stuff. So
Yeah.
we're getting a play-by-play here.
grade 12. I was the prefect in my school. I was the president in my school.
There is absolutely no way that happened.
I'm serious.
No,
I was
don't
the
believe it
president.
for a
I'm
second.
telling you.
See,
dog.
this is the thing about guys, you know, like they think,
I
oh no, I
was.
come from rural and poor. I
In
was the
grade 12.
prefect, I was the head of soccer,
I am
captain,
not lying
this,
to you. I
that,
didn't play
that.
sports.
And
though.
no one can back that up. No one can go, oh, let's find those files. There's
Well,
no way.
I have a lot of friends who will tell you. I was the president. It was me and this other girl called Sympathy. Her name is Sympathy. She's a cop now, I think. So
She's a cop.
yeah, now she's a cop. Yeah, so I was there, but they kind of like elected me, and I mean I didn't even apply for this thing, but like what happens at the school, they kind of like check who's like doing really well in terms of their marks and whatever. So they put those names up. So I was selected to be that. This is 2007. Okay, sharp 2007, end of matric. I killed my I killed my matric, yo. Like I think I got out with like 3 A's and 2 B's.
Wow.
And a C. The only D that was there was my science, my physics which was really messed up. And whatever subject you're really good at school, the teachers really push you to go towards a career
Yes, yeah.
with that subject.
Yeah.
So I was really good in biology and agriculture. I don't know, I aced that stuff. And my mathematics was also quite good. So one of my teachers was like, yo, man, I think you should study medicine because your biology is quite like, it's the one, you know, like, and at that time you don't hear about like the arts, you don't hear about other career choices, but the mainly is based in accounting and science and other stuff, you know. Okay, sure. There was a guy who was studying at Wits who used to come and during the holidays and teach us a few stuff, like, oh, this is how Wits is, and if you want to apply, do this, they'll help us out with the applications. I applied for medicine at Wits. And when I came in 2008, when I moved to Joburg, I was a bit late because I didn't have funding. I didn't have money because I also had to apply at NSFAS. So they told me that I need to upgrade my science, which was CAC. And I'm like, okay, cool. I took a gap year that year, and I was me and Alex with my cousins. So at the end of 2008, I went back to Wits. Like, no, we can't take you because we didn't upgrade your science. I'm like, let me go apply at UJ for optometry, which is under the whole medical, because they don't have medicine at UJ. But law was my second option, because there you have 2 options.
Right.
They took me for law. So in my head, I'm like, this is not what I applied for, but I'm like, I thought of it simply. I'm like,
Sorry, I just had a visual image there of like Johnson & Johnson's optometry with Kgomotso Neto. Are your eyes hurting you? Then you should come to Kgomotso's.
wait. So what happened was, nah, bro, that's not funny. Must stop with your dry jokes.
Sorry, bro.
Your dry jokes must stop.
You know how it goes.
So what happened from there is that I thought of it simply. I think a lot of us, if you like, you're not really sure what you want to do, and you're still like getting into this whole career or maybe preparing yourself for the field, like you don't know what you want to do. So I'm like, yo, law, sharp. I'm gonna get into law. I'm gonna get a degree, kill it, get a job, have money, have a house, have a family. I'm done. That's how I literally thought of it, like that.
What is your mom doing at this stage, just out of interest?
She's working. She's working.
What is she doing? What is she working as? If I may ask?
She's been a receptionist at Kia Motors, the head office in it's in the East Rand, even till today.
So she's a receptionist. You are now in Alex as a young man, I
Oh,
suppose.
this time we're staying in Soweto because now my mom was staying in Soweto. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're a young man in Soweto, and now you tell your mom optometry or law, and you got into law. What's your mom thinking?
No, it's not cool. Like, I think I'll tell you now, for a lot of our black parents, as long as you're doing something with a degree, you are secure. Like, it's more of a security thing. They
get the piece
they
of
don't
paper,
want
you're
you
good.
to be hustling for jobs, and you know what I mean? They want you to be secure. So when I told them I'm going to be doing law, they were even happier. Like, okay, law sounds like a really, you know how TV portrays lawyers, man. They're always like in their nice fancy suits and
With
you
the
know,
hot girls and
yeah,
the nice
and their
cars.
money. So
yeah.
basically, it's more of a successful thing more than anything. Like that image. So yeah, they were fine. I'll tell you now, my parents never really gave me a problem with whatever career choice that I go into. My mom always just pushed me to do what I want to do, what I love. So I applied for law. I applied for NSFAS, which is funding.
Yep.
They took me, got into res. I will tell you, in res, when I got to res, I stayed in campus at Bastion Men's Residence at UJ. That was the first time ever in my life having an interaction, like a close interaction with white people, ever. Staying in the same place, like that was the first time ever. And these were Afrikaans boys from all these expensive schools.
Did you make any white friends at that stage?
Yeah, actually, but like probably a year later, a lot of my friends were like we were all from different schools. You know, like
Right.
people were coming from really, really expensive schools. Still, there were other people who were coming from like places where you were paying 150 rands a year for school fees, and some are paying like they used to pay 60,000 rands a year on school fees. But like it was cool because now we are all different people, and we are in this res that's fucking practicing. They had a thing where so every res at UJ had like a culture which comes from a different country. So ours was the German culture. There was this fucking statue in the yard that if you're a first you have to greet when you pass. There was
These cultural things, dude.
there
They kill me.
were these guys who were like the leaders of the res who wore capes and wore all the stuff like they are from I don't know in some other ancient time. They were walking around with swords. Like there was a whole ritual around.
When you step back, you're like, what
the fuck was I
that
doing?
were we
You know?
doing?
So yeah, that was happening. We went through the whole treatment of first year and all that stuff. Res was nice. There was a lot of beer. There was a lot of beer in first year. A lot of drinking. A lot of. I wanna. That was probably me being in res was the best time of my life.
Right.
Yeah, because it was a whole different. It was a culture shock more than anything, but a whole different. A life altogether.
When
So,
does creativity start weaving its way in?
is right at this point it's not even there except for the music part of it.
Right.
I was heavily into music, into house music, like deep house. I used to.
You were DJing at the stage?
I started playing at I think it was 2010. There was a friend of mine, Tomuru, who's like a proper DJ. So I used to go with him to Pretoria, to Cullinan. We used to go to house sessions. And 2011, the year that I dropped out, I met a friend of mine, Q, who's a DJ from Kgomotso. So we started DJing together. We used to host gigs. Funny enough, Kofi, who was now here at Umuzi, has been my friend since varsity. I met him in varsity. So he used to come and shoot our gigs, you know, video stuff. And I think he still has the video. I must check it out. He used to come and shoot. So at this point now, so first year and second year, I killed my law. Like I was proper with that shit. Third year, that's when I started feeling like, nah, man, I don't want to be stuck in a career that I'm gonna be miserable with my whole life. And that kind of like, in a way, started affecting my studies also. So I passed some stuff I didn't really do that well in. And NSFAS has like a certain requirement in order for you to move forward with them funding you. They're like, okay, we can't fund you anymore. Also with being in res, you are not gonna be in res. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go home, I'll get a job and finish part-time. And I remember in my gap year in 2008, I've always wanted to work in a call center because my cousins, I have these cousins of mine who work in a call center and they bought cars, they have money. I'm like, damn, this is probably the easiest thing to do and still get like a lot of money. So lucky for me in 2012, my cousin who was working at a call center got me a job.
So what was the call center? What was the job?
It was so
Do you remember the script still?
I'll try to remember now, but it was called, the first one was called Izinga Access, where it's a company that did outsourcing for different insurance companies.
Right.
And they do their roadside assist, they do their home emergency stuff and calling ambulances and all that shit. So you do have a script, which is like
Okay,
feel
let's
like a
do
role.
this.
I can't remember the script. Though.
Try. I gotta do. Okay, so I'm gonna make the noise again. Brung, 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 brung. Hello, Andrew Levy speaking.
Thank you for calling Izinga Access. You're speaking to Kgomotso. How may I assist you?
Oh wait, am I phoning you? Oh, okay. Sorry. So I thought you were phoning me.
No,
it's inbound.
It's both. So basically, the first call that gets in is you calling in. Then after that, I have to probably do whatever service that you need, and then follow up later.
All right, roadside assistance. Right?
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
You
right,
call that you're stuck wherever, and then, yeah.
All right. Bring, 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 bring.
Thank you for calling Izinga Access. You're speaking to Kgomotso. How may I assist you?
Yeah, man, my car just broke down. I don't know where I am. This is a real problem. Can you guys? I need you.
Can I please have your contact? Can I please have your ID number or your policy number? Type of.
PO 151515.
Oh, Mr. Levy.
515.
Is it Mr. Levy?
It's me. You know me. Why you ask me stupid questions?
Yeah, and that happens. That happens where they really get so angry that you have to be calm the whole time. You know what I mean? But they at the training of this whole thing, they tell you about how this people will tell you shit, and they tell you how to deal with people, how to get certain answers out of them.
When call center people phone you now, how do you react to them?
I haven't had a call from a call center person in a while, but like you get patient with them. You know how it is. You know how it is. So yeah, that happened where I tried to study part-time. It didn't work out because they didn't want to credit me for the stuff that I did in UJ. Sharp. Call center, second year of call center, which is 2013, I bought a camera. And I remember I bought it at in Midrand at what is this mall? Boulders Mall, yes. I went to the game in town and they didn't have any. I wanted the D100 and they're like, yo, go to Midrand. And I go to Midrand and I bought it. Why am I buying it? I don't know. But I knew that.
How much was it?
It was 6,000 rands. So I had saved up for it and I got the cam, yeah. Okay, so I think around 2012 and 2013, there was a lot of people like creating blogs and posting pictures, like really nice pictures. I remember like that was the time. And I think for me, what might have drove me to buy a camera was that. Because I literally started, when I got that camera, I started shooting my friends mostly, like people around me and my mom's, like everyone around me, and gigs. I have got a few gigs where you get a gig to shoot a gig and they give 350 rands for like after shooting for 8 hours. But because you're doing it
you
for fun.
You got to start somewhere, bro.
Because you're doing it for fun. You're just like, no, don't worry, man. Yeah.
How did you edit those pictures?
Photoshop. I actually had Photoshop, but I didn't know totally how to use it at all until one friend of mine introduced me to Lightroom. Like, this is way easier. And I never looked at Photoshop ever again.
I would love to get one of those event photos from back in the day.
I still have them, funny enough. I still have like my older pictures.
Really?
Yeah.
We should definitely post some of that.
No. So, yeah, that happened. And yeah, I guess it took from there where it got so serious because I always put my work online. And the reaction was quite interesting, where people really liked the span, and people I was with at varsity who saw that I dropped out and I'm not studying anymore. One friend of mine called Tata. His name is Tata. Well, he's a closer guy. He was still in UJ after I had left, and Andrew was here. Andrew
Soglo.
Yes, yeah. That year he was here, and then Tata's girlfriend was friends with Andrew. I think they used to go to church together or something. And I think he also went to UJ, Andrew. So Andrew,
that's right. He did a marketing degree, I think.
They gave me Andrew's number. This was 2015. They gave me this was 2014. They gave me his number, like, yo, man, please call this guy. He's doing some photography thing at this institution, and maybe you might be able to get in also. I call him. He's like, yeah, you can, like I'm going to send you stuff for you to apply and whatever. I called here, and I think I spoke to, who was that lady I think she spoke French or...
Barbara,
yes. I spoke to Barbara, and Barbara was like, yo, man, this is a full-time thing. So, because I was working at the time. Like, if you're working, you're probably not going to need to, I don't know, decide whether this is worth it in terms of quitting your job, or you can always apply next year. I'm like, I am not going to leave this paycheck for nothing.
So wait, at that moment, okay, so just take me through that, right? So now Barbara says, no, this is a full-time gig. It's not you can't just do half, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, no ways, I'll never leave this.
Yeah, this is early 2014.
How much are you earning at a call center?
Probably I was getting like $6,000 at the time. 6,000.
6,000 a
Yeah,
month.
yeah.
It's nice.
So this is this is at the end of 2014. No, like this is early 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So I left my job, I think probably a month later to get another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my paycheck was around 8K now.
Wow.
So I worked, yes, still shooting, still posting online, getting I had a featured mailing Guardian which for me was just like, yesy. Clearly I'm doing something here,
good, yeah.
And the whole storytelling stuff and everything, and I met other people who were also into photography and looked up to a lot of people online also. Then I decided, I'm like, yo man, because it was getting really serious. I'm like, I'm gonna join Umuzi the following year, which is 2015. So I applied, and I remember we came to Banato. That was where our interviews were. And
That's where it all started with the music, man.
I remember I was hella hungover that day because
That's nice.
I came back from work because I used to work night shift and day shift. So that the previous day I was working night shift, and then I knocked off in the morning. So in the morning I was with my friends, not the day of the interview. So we drank. The following day I had all my documents with me to come apply. So I'm coming to Umuzi now to Banato to come apply. Yes, fuck! I forgot some of my documents in my friend's car, and this guy's phone is off. I remember Clooney was there. I tell Clooney, I show him. I had my work with me because I had my printed works with me. I tell him, he's like, no, you have to get your proof of ID because.
And Clooney's a badass when it comes to documents.
So he's like, what if this is not your work but your brother's work? Yeah, must come with your ID here so we can see that it's you. So it's me. Lerato was there also. I know she had forgot, and I had known Lerato before, way before.
Oh wow! Okay, I didn't know that.
When I was doing events, he was also there. Like,
oh, that's amazing.
So I'm like, yo, dude, I'm going through this. Like, same here. I also forgot my stuff in the taxi. We're like, Ish, what are we gonna do now? So there was an internet cafe, like by Perry. We went there, checked my emails because I used to do copies via my mom's at work, so she'd send me copies. Check there, Ish, my ID copies are not there. So I'm like, wait, I have ID copies at home, but I can't really go home. I asked my, because it was Saturday, I think. I asked my moms to take a picture. She took a picture of my ID copy and emailed it. Then I printed. Even though the print copy, I remember the print copy was so shit. Then got there, gave them to Cloney, sharp. Went upstairs. I remember thinking our group, Busi was there. Can't remember the other guys, but I remember Busi was there.
Wasn't Nhlakanibo with you there?
Not when we were being interviewed, no.
Okay.
And when we got in, I remember who interviewed me. It was Anthea and Chantal.
Oh, wow.
Chantal from the building.
building.
Yeah, and I remember them telling me, because I was telling them about how I tell stories and whatever, and they loved the photos. They loved them so much. And they were like, dude, there's no way. They told me that there's no way you're not going to get into this thing. Like, you are, like, there's no way. And I remember on the application thing, the little file thing, they wrote that if you don't accept this guy, you'll have us to deal with. I remember that comment. So
that made you feel good, huh?
Oh, I'm like, oh, obvious, me, I have this thing. So yeah, that happened, and yeah, I made it into Umuzi, and yeah.
So let's just talk quickly, because I wanna fast forward, and I can't believe we've been speaking for like 25 minutes. Ramalotti said we can only do podcasts for 10 minutes because then I'm stopping to listen. So at the 10-minute mark, whatever you said, Ramalotti stopped listening. So I hope you know that. But what is the one thing? I don't want to go through the whole Umuzi journey, but what's the one thing you learned from your time at Umuzi? It might not even be from Umuzi specifically, but from your time here.
For me, it's two things. The first one, it was being able to, and I keep saying this all the time, being able to like organize my work, or maybe like shooting with a certain thing in mind, or like knowing where your work is going. You can never really know where your work is going, but you have some kind of an idea, what am I doing? Because I feel like with every work that I do, with my photography, whether it's portraiture, whether it's editorial stuff, whether it's street stuff, there's a golden thread to all of them. Like there's something similar about them. You know what I mean? And for me, I think more than anything is the storytelling part of it, and I tell it in a way that makes sense to me, I think. So I think for me, I learned really. I remember in 2015, Tapelo was telling us that, yo, guys, like when you shoot, you have to shoot with like purpose. Like you need to shoot with reason and like understand what you're shooting. And I think for me, that's been like the main thing. The other thing for me has been collaboration. I've seen how much more can happen when you work with other people. When you do stuff with other people, and especially people who are probably not even in the same kind of creative field that you're in. I prefer working with other creatives rather than photographers, because I feel like we come with the same thing on the plate. So if it's a graphic designer or whatever, something else can be created. So for me, collab and shooting with purpose has been like the main thing that I learned here, and the community part of it. I guess the collab part is the community part of it.
Who's the most influential person in your cohort? Like you cohort 1 now, right? There's one cohort that's come before you. If there's one person in your cohort that was really influential to you, not like the dopest creative, but just like someone who is influential to you, who was it and why?
Like influential in what sense? Like in like giving advice, you speak to this person when it's Weswa. I know. I won't even lie to you, because
all right.
Why? Because I feel like we talk about anything, you know what I mean? And I think even before, we were all a group of friends.
Before what?
Before what? No, okay. Even before, in 2015, we were all hanging.
Okay.
We were all hanging, the whole group. But like, we got along so well that we spoke about like a lot of stuff. Even like with photography, even with the issues that they go through as women. Like the whole patriarchy and the whole how the everything is kind of like against them, how we're privileged as males, like a lot of stuff, like that kind of like also changes your outlook on your surroundings. You know what I mean? So I think for her, it's her who's been like really influential in how I view some things. You know what I mean? In how I've learned a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's her. Awesome. And she's probably the main one, but also my friends Bantu and Hippo. Bantu for me has been like influential in the sense that he can speak to anyone. Like this thing of I'm in the streets, you want to shoot, but you can't really ask for permission. Call Bantu. Bantu does it so well. So I've learned how to actually approach people just by hanging with Bantu. So he's kind of like really, and even I didn't know that I still am struggling now with like the technical stuff of photography. Like when I came here, I didn't know what composition was. I always thought composition is like how you balance colors in a picture until Tabelo told me about it and whatever. But like with Bantu is highly technical because he went to the market photo. So little stuff irritated me in the picture. So I learned to look at those little stuff, but also that doesn't really throw me off and say, "Oh, this is a bad picture." You know what I mean? So he's been influential in that too. You know what I mean? So yeah. And with my nigga Hippo, I think there's no guy who's like a go-getter or who's like forces to get stuff than Hippo. You know what I mean? I think the drive thing for me literally probably comes from him more than anything, because hanging around those people. So yeah.
It's nice. Now let's fast forward. You've been a freelancer. You've been doing pretty well since the end of Umuzi. Pretty well. I mean, you're doing fantastically well.
No, I'm not.
No, I think you are. I mean, I really believe.
And you guys
that.
must focus more on like the freelancing thing for a lot of people here. Just I don't know, have something for them. Like I don't know, like. Because I feel like for a lot of photographers who were at Umuzi, when they left, you can't really go to an agency or go to a production company. It never really works out. So it's either you're shadowing someone or you're doing. I feel like there should be some kit to like prepare people for like the freelancing.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? I mean? You hear that? Kgomotso Neto is going to make a freelancing kit for the community.
No, you should do it.
No, you're doing it. You're doing it. I've decided.
I am still figuring this shit out.
Figure it out. That's exactly what we do. We prototype everything. You are going to do it.
I am still figuring
You're going to run a workshop on how to be a freelancer. You can tell us what you know so far. I love it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So talk to me about your latest project. You invited by, is it SA Tourism?
So before we get into that, right?
Yeah.
The whole freelancing thing, I'll tell you now how probably people are wondering, how do I get jobs, right? So me, I've always been a person of, I don't hoard my work. I post my shit all the time. I'm forever posting. It can be, I don't know, like I'm always, there's been this thing about how the more you post, the more your work loses value, which is, I feel like it's kind of like bullshit now, because we live in a time where, dude, we show your work. How are people going to know about your work, or how are you going to change anything if you don't really put your work out there? Well, there might be other ways, but for me, how it's been working for me, it's via sharing work. So people have probably even thought that if you share your work, you won't even be able to get into galleries and exhibit. I've had that experience where I exhibit in a gallery. I've been featured like a lot because of I post my work. I get jobs just via posting. But what I do is I don't post the job or the like. I don't post I post my creative work mostly. You know what I mean? And that works a lot as like reference for a lot of people who look at my work, or for a lot of companies. So they come to me already with something in mind that they've already seen.
Yeah.
So in my work, so like, yo, can you please shoot this for us, like how you shot whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Like now I've been getting a lot of behind the scenes jobs, and that literally started happening after the Hangman, because I kind of like told the story of the Hangman also just via pictures before the movie even came out. People were they wanted to see the movie so bad after they saw the pictures. So now I'm getting like a lot of jobs like where someone will call me, I'm like, yo man, we're doing a video around this, but I want you to be around on set, just do your thing. And it's always so great because I don't really get like the brief is always so simple, do your thing. It literally is that, then that's it. And I always post my span, like this is how I get work. The tourism thing, it was probably a first experience for me. So what happened, SA Tourism hit us up. Well, they hit up media companies like your News 24, Daily Sun, Travel 24. There was like over 60 media companies. So what SA Tourism does is that every year it focuses on a province where basically the media writes about that province. So they give this media a free kind of experience in that province. They travel, they experience all the nice stuff, the cool stuff there. Then they come back and write reviews about what they experienced. So now, because times are changing and there's like social media, they got a few people who are like doing really nice stuff on social media, which was me, Sibu Panza, who's a YouTube guy. He's doing really well with that. There was another photographer from Cape Town, and there was all the other writers come from certain companies. So it was so weird for me and the other guys. I'm like, guys, we are here, right, with these people who are representing other companies. So that means even with us, you're representing yourself. You are like a media person. You're a company on your own, which was so dope for me.
You're a content house.
In a way, and I'm like, fuck, like that's like really, and it was cool. Besides, because it wasn't even a paying job, but they were like, yo, you get an all-paid trip, and in return, you just post about it. You know what I mean? But for me, that wasn't even the highlight. The highlight is the people that I met there, and the connects that were there. You know, because
and that's how it goes to your next job, right?
You know what I mean? So now, and now you should they see how great you are with your work, and I'm sure I've gotten like over 3 contacts where people wanna work now. You know, so and that's how literally you get yourself out there. Just keep putting out work, I guess.
So this has been a fantastic conversation. I didn't really know where it was going, and I don't think you did when you came to the storeroom. Just to give you an idea, we're in the storeroom doing our first ever podcast here of our alumni, man. We just thought, stuff it. Why not tell the stories that have come and gone in this space and that continue to shine, so that we can inspire everyone in the community as well as everyone outside the community. And we started with Neto. That was just pure by chance. Mikey cancelled me. Mikey's too busy, on social media.
And I'm going to say this now, I'm going to say it here on the podcast.
Okay.
Please start using other people. There's so many. How many people have come out of Umuzi? Like, I think it's probably easier for you to like just say, yo, let's do this because I'm forever in the studio. So another thing is that, which people must know about here, is that I don't work at Umuzi, but I work from Umuzi. And that's the thing. If you're a freelancer, if you decide to go into freelancing, you don't have anywhere to work at. This space is forever open, right? Yeah, like the internet is here, everything is here. Like I do everything of mine here. So I'm saying with you, Andrew, that I know I'm forever here, and it's like I'm accessible. I mean, you're just like, oh, this guy, let's go do it. Call other people. I know they're working.
We're gonna do that.
You should try, like, literally include everyone, because now.
And Sorry, finish.
No,
what
it's
you're
fine.
saying.
It's fine. Yeah.
No, I think, to your point, I think what you've said is just brilliant. Is what we're trying to do right now is in the studio, we're going to create a space for alumni to come and work, to do their thing. We're busy sorting out the desk space right now. So if you are an alumni, if you are freelance, the doors are always open. You never leave Umuzi. We're serious
Or
about
if you
that.
just lost a job.
Exactly. If you just lost a job, you need to find a job, right? Come and talk to us. Because there's lots of big things coming. One of the other things we're looking into is a recruitment space, so that we can support alumni who want to change jobs, who want to make new waves, want to support them. That's coming. It hasn't launched yet. We're still trying to find out how the space works. But mainly right now, the physical space. If you need a place to work, come hang out. As an alumni, we'd love to see you. You're right, Kgomotso. We need to profile, and I suppose this is part of it, right? Is to get more faces, more names, and find out what everyone else is doing. To wrap up very quickly, what is the future of Neto? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people ask you that, but let's not talk about the future like, in 10 years, I'm going to have that house, the car, the kids. Let's talk about next. What's next on Neto's list? What is something that you're passionate, or what do you want to do next? What's the thing that you're like, I want to try that out?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I think for me, it's to just keep working, eh? Like, I feel like...
Are you still trying to do the whole video gig?
I've had so many problems with video gigs, so now I'm just like kind of like moving away from it. I'm like, let me stick to what I know, and I don't think I have the patience for video anyway. But yeah, so I think for me it's just to keep creating work, man. Like I feel like I put up a status the other day. I was like, the work you're creating is important, And I'm saying this to like literally to everyone who's trying to create work, you know what I mean? Like the work you're creating is important. Just keep creating it. And you can never really get to a level where you're like, how you do stuff. I still get nervous when I get gigs. I still get really, like, I'm never in a position to be like, fuck, I know how I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? Even though it might be in the line of what I'm doing, but I never really know how it's going to come out. You know what I mean? You never know when you get there, the lighting might be fucked and then you come up with really fucked up images, but you always find a way to make it work. So for me, I think I'm just going to keep creating work and putting it out there because we need to create work, even if it's useless work, but this work will be really useful in the next probably 10 years or whatever. We need to have reference so much. Imagine, we were speaking about this the other day with me, Voyeswa, Andy Lebuka, and Sia. We're speaking about how, imagine your Instagram account in the next 20 years. How much reference is that for a lot of people? When you scroll through someone's page who's been a photographer for like the past 20 years. That's reference,
That's a real portfolio,
You know what I mean? So just keep pumping this work out, just keep creating. And for me, that's the main thing. I want to create a website. So I think that's like my one thing that I really want to do from now. Create a website just because I registered a company. So now I'm like, I have a proper company. So I want to create a website for that and just have that as like my portfolio in a way, like client work and all this other stuff. So yeah, and collaborating with more people and bringing people's ideas to life. And I think for me that's the main thing. Telling stories, man. That's like my main thing.
The petty man who wears a vendor cap. It's all here. Thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate your time. Listen, if you missed any of this, you got to listen to the guy's story. He takes us through his life, basically, step by step. Collabs in the future. Maybe there's a designer, a coder, someone who can do websites that you can collab with in the alumni, so check that out. And also, he promised us a workshop on being a freelancer. So that is definitely happening. I will make sure that happens.
Okay, maybe we can do it with Hippo and Bantu, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah,
the three of you will do it. All right, that's nice. I like that. Thank you. Before we go, just in case the community doesn't know and people outside the community pick up on this, just give us your Instagram handle quickly.
It's Kgomotso, Kgomotso _Neto, Neto, on all platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, Behance, everywhere. It's Kgomotso Neto.
Okay, and what we'll do as well is you've mentioned a whole bunch of people in your interview. So you mentioned Drew Soglo, Ramaloti, Vuyiswa, Bantu, Hippo, and Mikey.